I only do carb drinks, or at least when I was competing, I would do carb drinks, pre-workout, post-workout. So I would put like nowadays I would use my Carbolyze and Isolyze, before I trained about 20, 30 minutes. I even put a tablespoon of mac oil in there to kind of slow down the absorption a little bit. And then post-workout, I would use Carbolyze, Isolyze, so whey isolate with high molecular weight carbohydrate, and no oil post-workout because you want to get that stuff in quickly into the muscle. Now, during my, bout of trying to gain muscle over the years, back in the early 90s, I had a very, very fast metabolism, and I couldn't eat enough food. So I would use carb powders. The problem was there was really no good carb powders back then. They were all basically sugar, dextrose, and stuff like that. I used to use Ultra Fuel. The Twin Lab had made a powdered form of it too. It was like 100 grams of carbs per like 2 scoops or something like that. And I would throw that in with a Metrex packet, and I would use that during the day just because I couldn't get it down enough calories. For most people, that's not an issue. Most people, if they started eating massive amounts of carbs during the day, they're going to get fat. That was just my way of doing it. For conventional, for most people, the best way to do a carb powder is pre and post workout, I think, though.
Take 2 more questions. Vincent Picarillo, cannabis oils and bodybuilding. I know we've gotten a lot of questions about CBD in general.
Yeah.
Now that I guess it's really been around a lot more, proficient amongst bodybuilders now for recovery purposes. Have your thoughts evolved at all, or just do you have more information about cannabis oils and how I guess impacts bodybuilding?
Yeah. I've tried the cannabis oils. I've done everything from, just drank it. I've vaped it. Because people send me all these different versions. Pills. I just don't like the way I feel. Something feels a little weird. I feel a little lazy on this stuff. I don't know. It's not a marijuana-like laziness, but it's just like, I don't know. It's to me, it's not a good feeling. I mean, maybe for other people, they enjoy that relaxing feeling. I don't think it has any negatives to it. I think that if you like it and you feel good and it relaxes you, it's not going to have any negative ramifications to building and repairing muscle, if that's the question that's being asked. And so I think in that sense, it's safe to take, but some people like it, some people don't. I don't particularly feel good on it at all. But I'm not really a marijuana person either. Like I don't really. It doesn't work well with my personality. I don't know why. It dries my mouth out. I just don't feel like I don't like that particular drug for some reason. But a lot of people do. I think marijuana, because it does have a tendency to raise estrogen levels, has to be carefully used pre-contest. But for a lot of people, it's a very important thing that they do every day because it really relaxes them and it keeps their anxiety at bay. So I'm all for medicinal uses of cannabis, whether it be CBD or the full strength, THC marijuana, if it works for you. It doesn't work for me well, but I don't have a problem with people using it.
Last question from Todd Pyatt Universe. How freaky do you think Sergio Oliva Sr. would be if he was in his prime today with access to everything that today's bodybuilder has access to?
Assuming he had access to all those things, and he had a coach who can actually tell him how to take it, like he had like a Chad Nichols or something like that, he probably would have been a freak of freaks. I mean, the guy had the craziest proportion of all time, small waist, and just he was monstrously big, and he probably didn't even know what he was doing. He probably didn't even eat right. He probably, his training probably was very unconventional, and it's always interesting to speculate when you see a specimen like that who's got the genetic gifts. He could have been a Ronnie Coleman for all we know. I mean, look at Ronnie. I mean, Ronnie was incredible before he even took any drugs. I mean, I bet you Sergio wasn't even on that many drugs, and he was a freak like that. So he probably could have been another Ronnie Coleman, if he would have done everything the right way, But sometimes when people have those genetic gifts, they don't want to hear anyone else's advice, and maybe he wouldn't have listened. So who knows,